Welcome, world, to Life, Love, and Wellness Global, a worldwide wellness movement. I am Reverend Sandy Rogers, and as the creator of this historic event, it is my pleasure to welcome you. We come together to bring you this historic event. We have practitioners, holistic practitioners. We have medical doctors, we have spiritual individuals. This event is so lovingly dedicated to my mother, Mrs. Barbara Dean Brown. And my mother taught me like 40 plus years ago about the importance and the meaning behind herbs. And she would always say, we don't know what they putting in those pills, so you better not, get hooked on prescription drugs. And so we listened to Mom, but not all of us paid attention. My sister, bless her heart, was diagnosed recently thereafter with asthma, and she was prescribed prednisone, which is a very powerful steroid. And my sister actually got hooked on steroids, like someone out on the street kind of hooked, like on heroin or crack or something like that. And so my mom and my sister are both on the other side, living in the other dimension, but they're upholding me, and this is dedicated to their memory. So we don't want to come and make you change your mind about what you're doing. We just want to provide information to you, something different, so that you have options to choose from, so that you're not stuck. Because the environment that we now live in, the fast foods, the toxins in the air that we breathe and in the water that we drink, and the processed foods, and all of that is causing havoc on this precious body temple. So God created our bodies to heal themselves, but they can only heal themselves when they're fed and they're nourished and they're stress-free. And so the 60 or so or more experts that we have are bringing you this worldwide wellness movement in an attempt to share their testimonies and their information with you. So we have from age 14 on up. I don't even know what the oldest age is. I think 88 or something. So you see, that's a wide range of knowledge that we're bringing you. And so we hope that you come and that you get all the knowledge that you need to affect a positive change on your life, and share this with others. It's free, it's online, and so we're just so thankful that you decided to be a part of our listening community, the viewing community, and we certainly appreciate you for giving us your time of day and your energy and your efforts to being with us and to being a part of this historic event. We have pulled together people of color for you, by you, right? So we want to make sure that you understand that we too, melanated people with color, can enjoy, practice, and participate in some of these modalities that others have been doing for centuries, and that is pretty new to our community. So we talk about Qigong, we talk about meditation, yoga, spiritual work from a different perspective than religion. So we talk about the spirituality aspect. We talk about abuse in the families. We talk about all kinds of subjects because we know that in our communities there are layers and layers and layers and layers of stuff that we never talk about that's causing a negative effect on our bodies and its healing process. So we address it, whatever it is, and we hope that you will benefit from the many experts that we have, and that you walk away with lots of knowledge and lots of new information, and that you become fully empowered to share information with others. So thank you for being with us. We love you and we bless you, and we look forward to doing this again. But thanks for being here with the first one. We appreciate you.
Life, love, and wellness. Life, love, and wellness.
Reverend Dr. Sandy, I appreciate being here. It's an honor for me to have you invite me to talk about some of the areas in which I work to make the world and my community a better place. So I am the one that is honored to be here, to be under your facilitation of hearing more about my work and activities.
Well, thank you so much. So what is it that you do?
I do a number of things. My foundation is in public health and international health law and in community health and women's health. So I have 3 circles of which I have originally been trained in. And as a consequence, I've always had in women's health an area of holistic healing and approach. I've written a number of chapters, edited a book that is around holistic health and healing, and it's always been a important part of my life. Yoga, complementary to that, and meditation. And consequently, I've grown more into the cycle of self-healing as a modality using sound. And sound has come about in a very fantastic way in my life about 15 years ago, and then more recently I have been involved in some intensive trainings around using sound as a specific modality to assist the body in becoming more balanced, more at a state of where the cells are alive and vibrant to assist the body to become healed.
That's incredible. Why is healing the female energy so important to our community?
Well, you know, we start off indigenously as women being many of the healers around the world. My mother, I come from a lineage of healers. My mother, my grandmother, probably my great-grandmother, don't know that far back, but I do know that there's been a sequence across the world. Gaia, Mother Earth, all of the major monuments that we have erected just even around this hemisphere are feminine identified. We can look at mountains, we can look at spirit of what the earth has to offer us. And one of my favorite places is Hawaii, and that goddess there is called Pele, the mother of creation, constantly spewing out her lava. So the feminine energy is what is important and what's needed because we are out of balance at this current state. I think that's why we are in this state of unorganized chaos that we have amidst us. We need to get more back to the feminine, more back to the divine, with an understanding of what that really means. You know, sometimes I think, and I want to digress a bit, but sometimes we think that put a woman in a place that will make a big difference. In my sort of black womanist thought, I understand that that's not the solution. We need to have engaged, experienced people who are committed to building community who will make a difference.
That's beautiful. A lot of times we're trained and led to believe that the woman is a second-class citizen after that male energy. But I believe and agree with you that that male energy is what's brought us into this chaotic state that we find ourselves in around the world. So in addressing the feminine energy that gives life to all life, it's important that we understand the significance that women play in the world. So what type of programs do you do to empower women specifically?
Well, a broad spectrum of my work, I said initially, was trained in women's health. You know, really understanding the divine force, the feminist, the black womanist consciousness that we have available to us. And, you know, in that aspect, Pachamama, we have this earth that we have. My work, I think, is more channeled in a divine feminine energy. One of my most powerful instruments I use is a divine feminine gong. And so the work that I presently do on a community level is about creating communities of sound healers, sound healing per se. The majority of the people who attend my sessions are women. That has a great deal to do with the energy in the room. And by consequence, the women who are in attendance have families, may have children, and that energy that they experience is then shared within their environments. And what I have seen over time, and you know this too, Reverend Dr. Sandy, is that the process unfolds. The more you attend, the stronger your vibration becomes and becomes more. I think you and Deborah Smith have been the two that have attended the most. And I have seen the unfolding of people as they come, and even the magnetism that they extend out to the larger community. So by proxy, even though it's not focused solely on women, I do have some upcoming women events, women-only events, and many of the women who recruit me to come are women. It is expansive and changing, and along with what we are supposed to be doing. Some of the work that we're supposed to be doing in that healing paradigm, and that energy that is to collect, transform, or recreate ourselves, a renewing of ourselves as women, especially as Black women.
Exactly. Yeah, because the last time we were together in Tuskegee a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, oh, that's right.
I was so under that I fell out the chair.
I saw. I was trying to say, "Oh no!" From the kids go.
And I just stayed there. I was like, "Oh, it was cool," you know. So
yes.
That is something that we're not normally taught. How those sounds affect us, and you know, we have noise coming at us all the time. Be it the radio, be it the sound of cars. Absolutely. Or you know, and so it becomes pollution.
Yes.
Right?
That's right. That's right.
So how important is what you do? Because you marry meditation and sound together to create a modality where a person can literally go within and just, it has to affect the cellular levels, right?
Most certainly. Most certainly. This is my arena. So what happens is, and I like the term of marrying sound and meditation. You know, there's some schools that talk about meditation that you sit quietly or you say a mantra. I have discovered in my processes that the combination of sound, using the instruments of Tibetan bowls, crystal bowls, chimes, gongs, adds to the quickening of what you experience when you undergo meditation, years of meditation. So for example, you know, the part that I do is I do a washing of the body, of the stress that's in the body, and then there's an attunement which occurs when the bells and the sound and the bowls are played. And what happens is the sound represents what we call like ambient sound, natural sound. So you would say, if minus the traffic sounds in the cars, you would be hearing birds, you'll be hearing trees, you'll be hearing the wind. So the replication of that natural environment is infused into the notes of the bowls that I play. And so what happens, the cells resonate to that sound. And they are like rejoicing and very happy, because oftentimes we're on the grind, we're very busy, we don't get a chance to be at peace and be at one, or just to be in the present moment. And so the sound meditation experience allows one to get into that zone of receptivity, of deep relaxation, so that they can experience miraculous activities. Either be it deep and profound rest, because so many of us are sleep deprived. They can experience out-of-body experiences. They can experience visitations by beings in a room and beings that you can see and not be seen. And it's not to like woo-woo anybody. I have just seen the transformation as an energy worker myself, because I've been trained in Reiki as well, to see varying forms of deposits, if you must say, in the room. And I see how it harmoniously works on individuals who attend and experience it. So back to the point about your cells are made up and your organs are together with your cells. In the meditation experience, the cells get an opportunity to work on whatever might be some dis-ease or dysfunction that might be going on in the body temple. So I don't like to say necessarily, and people have said this, that I'm a healer per se, because we don't want to get into the issues of old practicing medicine without a license. I just say we work in the realm of helping the body to heal itself. Restoring. Yes.
So it's a powerful work, and until one can experience it, it's really difficult for someone to really understand exactly what it is that has happened. So you have been under the tutelage of quite a few masters.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. When my godmother calls them, and I'm so not good with African names, but my Oluwes that have come to me, and I think it actually begins with your initial conversation that my beginning master was probably my mother, more than likely my mother, someone who worked in a very quiet medicine way in her own life, who imbued in me these systems of healing. Like there was at points when she would say, my brother may have a bath. Walk down, and I'm from the north, I'm from Jersey, so she was to go walk down to this lot and pick up this particular herb that was growing in abundance in the lot, take it back home and boil it, throw something in there, and he's recovered. So that was my original master, all due respect to her. And then along the ways I have found varying people, individuals who have helped me along this way, who have helped to flourish something that was already there that was just waiting to come out.
It's incredible to give honor to your mother like that.
Absolutely.
That's because now it's all about monetizing the healing herbs and the healing concoctions, and like you say, for it to just be freely growing in the lot. That's awesome.
And it still is. We just don't know it. I mean, there's so many things that are around us now that are growing in abundance, or in some aspects, very scarce in different areas, that you can take and apply to the skin or ingest that is healing. But we've gotten away from this. We've gotten so, like you said, everything's become monetized in a pharmaceutical pill or brand that encourages us to get away from our natural state of being, instead of looking and studying and understanding what is truly available to us.
So you continuously learning,
absolutely,
and growing, and you travel like all over the place, right? So tell us about that experience.
So I love traveling. It's my mother used to travel in her dreams. So she would never get on a plane, but she would travel often, different places. And now that I've been to those places, I completely understand where she's been. I'm like, oh my gosh, my mother's been here. But that's for a whole other discussion. But yes, travel was instilled in my life in an early age. I think my father, when I was probably in the 3rd grade, took me on my first plane to leaving JFK Airport, going to Florida, and looking out expansively over the ocean. And from that point on, I had been in love with getting on a plane and seeking out the ocean. So early on in my life, I was blessed to work for the Boston Women's Health Book Collective. They wrote a book called Our Bodies, Our Cells. And in that, I became their ambassador, and they sent me all around the world. And I met many women on the international women's health, feminist movements, and have traveled the continent many times over attending various conferences, doing presentations. So travel is a part of my life, and it connects me with meeting people, and allows me to grow and to just watch people in their natural state. I don't even have to do much, just be and to watch. So yes, it's something I love to do, and I've just learned the beauty of this country in and of itself, that there are so many pockets that we don't visit here, and we don't know about, that there's so much that we have to learn, and I combine that with my love of art. So yes.
That's interesting. Sometimes we don't realize that the learning is just in observation,
yes,
or not having preconceived ideas about what you're to learn from a situation.
Absolutely.
And the pockets that you're talking about, there could be various pockets like on the same block.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I grew up in a same block, my hood was Whiten Street in Jersey City, and then you went over 2 blocks over with Pacific Ave, and it was something totally different that went down. So taking those early learning experiences have allowed me to use that lens, that when I go travel, there's this sensitivity that is, used to be a thing, people used to say traveling with the ugly American, how Americans can often get when they travel abroad, become, arrogant, demanding. And I just learned to separate myself from the group and blend in and just, be amongst the people.
Right,
and to learn.
And how important is that, as far as your consciousness go, to be able to travel? How What do you think is that connection?
Well, it's part of the diaspora. That's the one thing. My first international trip. Oh, that wasn't my first international trip, but the first time I went to continental Africa, I went to Uganda, and it was such a powerful experience that, as an African American traveling back to Uganda, traveling back to Africa, back to Uganda, interesting, back to Africa, activated something. You know, there was something very spiritually ceremonial for me. People say, "Oh, you know, often I don't go to Africa, and I don't get this feeling." I did. I had a blessed experience when I traveled to Uganda. There was something that was in the air. There was a smell that was in the air. There was a feeling amongst the people. And despite the poverty, they had just come out of years of war, they were some of the kindest, nicest people on the planet that I ever met. And the traveling part is very important, because we're from the diaspora, and coming from Africa, whether you want to accept it or not, we traveled in different places and different ports, so we are spread out across the world. Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Caribbean, you know, Mexico, all over the world we come from. And it's important for us to know that just don't stay in your locale. You have to expand your consciousness. Just as we expand our consciousness as people involved in the healing practice, we have to expand our consciousness in knowing who is of the world. Mm-hmm. Especially now, since it's changing so much.
Yes. Great, great. What suggestions, advice, recommendations would you give people that are wanting to have the experiences, or some of the experiences that you've had in the traveling, but can't necessarily financially afford to do that? Because I'm sure there's a richness in that.
Well, you know, there are many opportunities to travel. There are many opportunities to do whatever you want to do. You just have to put the energy and the intention behind it. There are trips that people can take, group trips. There are travel agents who are willing to support you and work with you. I mean, you can buy trips now on a layaway plan. So I think if you want to do something, you put your energies to doing it, and everything else will magnetize toward it. There are no limits here. There are no limits here. I don't believe in that.
So here you hear it from April Taylor. She is just phenomenal in keeping her options open and helping you to see the same thing, that if you want it, you can do it, but you must first of all make that commitment that is something that you want to do. And she gives honor to her ancestors, to her mom and her grandmother, and the spirits of the ancestors, to where she is. And she's such an open vessel to receiving all of this. And so we so appreciate you being with us and being a part of us. And we will have an opportunity to hear some of your music. We'll add that on to this recording as well, just so people can get a taste of exactly what that sound therapy talks about. And is there anything else or that you would like to leave with the audience, or contact information?
Yeah, I know we've talked about a lot, and in terms of my experience, especially with travel and work, the work that I do embraces all of those experiences, and that's why I think the sound experiences that people have attending my sessions are very powerful, because it's just not an opportunity just to sit there and just to be and meditate. It's a full experience that has range and it has depth. And it's a part of my intention of making the world and the community better. So I do that through these processes, through these steps, and it sound not only changes the individuals in the room, but it expands and extends beyond the community and beyond the world. So that's what I would leave with.
Sound is unity.
Thank you.
Thank you, April.
Part of the experience of working with women, a lot of my training and experience came from the early days of working with the National Black Women's Health Project. Back in the day, we had women's circles in Boston. I remember that Billy Avery had the Black Women's Health Project here in Atlanta, and it was this like like the mecca for Black women to come annually to meet and to learn and to exchange and to hear from one another. And I met some fantastic people in those settings, and it reminded me of the power of who we are as Black women. And you know, capitalism has done a job on us. It's done an intense job and has isolated many of us and taken away communities with gentrification, different things. So we don't have those same supports that we used to have in community. Like growing up, if my mother wasn't here, you know, people say that, and I think that the young generation that doesn't even know this, that my mother wasn't around. I had my neighbors, my neighbors in the neighborhood who look after me, and they honestly, truly would do that. And it's so diffused now. It's so missing because social media has taken a great place of our interaction one-on-one with people that has taken us away from who we actually are. So yeah, there's a lot that we have to unlearn, to reclaim, to relearn about who we are as women, and the power that we have as Black women to do major things. And I say, even with small money, you can do so much on a small budget. That's one thing I learned when I used to travel internationally a lot, is that a lot of the women in India inspired me a great deal because they managed to change major systems with little or no money, just having community work together.
And that's so important, that togetherness, that unity
Yes.
of women, because that's a very strong power.
Yes.
And so the systems that would have humanity not accept and honor the strength of who they are would definitely look to the feminine energy first,
Yes.
because that's the energy that gives life to life.
Yes.
And so it's important that we pay honor and give credit and respect to those. You're talking about the ladies in India,
Yes.
the within your own family, within that neighborhood that you grew up in, you know, so that we start coming together and supporting one another and becoming that village.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. That village, that community is a mighty force, and that's why I think there are systems that put us at bay with one another, so that we don't create that community, that we don't have that system, that we're isolated, that we're you know, little groups here and there, and no one sees the larger picture of actually who we are. And I do think that working in holistic health or complementary health, whatever you want to call it, is a major vehicle to help us bridge those gaps for us to come together.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank